We're taking you inside this massive gold mine, where a Canadian company plans to make the most of our economy's minerals moment and expand this operation. But could controversy consume their investment?
Since about 2017 in earnest, we've been, with the permission of the Department of Conservation, establishing drill sites.
So 1 million ounces, that could give you how many more years, if not decades, on this operation if you're allowed to go ahead with it?
The mining phase is in the order of a decade of mining.
We're going across a bit further, so we'll probably start going...
Anything to get to the gold,
again. Yeah, correct. Yep, so that spiral starts going left again there.
Getting dizzy.
So this is the Edward 10.
We're 250 metres underground the Coromandel town called Waihi, where the Toronto-listed company OceanaGold digs for gold and silver. How do you know you want to go in that direction? How do you know there's gold through those?
Couple of ways. One, there would have been exploration drilling done that you've seen then up in the office. So those results say it's gold out here. See how we get there?
It started digging these tunnels in 2006, and it's still going deeper. The mining safety lead took us right into its operation to understand exactly what it's doing under the earth.
Training day.
Hello, how are you? Good.
Roy, Doc, this is Madison.
Maddie, nice to meet
Maddie,
you guys.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you're doing?
What I'm doing, what I do as a job here.
Yeah, and what you're doing
operator,
today.
So just ground support, development, drilling, the blasting, the development progression. Yeah.
How long have you been working here for?
7 years.
At this mine for 7 years?
Yeah, this might be 7 years, yeah.
How do you find the mining industry?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's cool. So it's the best job. It's the best job I've ever had. Most exciting. Everything's a bit different, challenging. So yeah.
Pays okay?
Oh, it pays great. Well, we're great for probably New Zealand. They say it's not up on scale with what's in Aussie, but I haven't been there, so I can't compare.
In terms of what you were doing before this, like how much of an opportunity and what kind of lifestyle can this give you that something else couldn't?
Well, financially it's been, well, we were able to buy a house, and which in my last job was single income with a family. It was pretty much impossible to try and live and save. So yeah, this has been massive for us.
Oh, awesome. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Here she is. As we kept driving down, we made it to the bottom of the Martha Pit.
This is Martha Pit, yep.
I feel like I'm walking on the moon. So this used to be a fully operational
Correct.
open mine?
Correct, yep. Well, you can't see from here, but we've got workshops and crushers and things all around the surface up there. And they used to come in around and down and into the bottom of the pit here and mine that.
But there was this landslide, right? So since that happened, or before, when you saw that coming,
yeah, they knew
You
because of monitoring. They knew this. They knew there was movement and things were going to happen, and everyone was taken out of the pit well before anything occurred. And since then, we've then mined access in through to the pit as you just come out of.
So the underground mine is actually under our feet. It keeps going deeper.
Correct. Yes.
This might sound like a stupid question, but how does this remain stable when people are mining underneath it?
The ground itself is inherently stable.
Okay.
The rock structures, they'll stay there. You take a tunnel through it, the rock structure will stay there. The stresses will move. Our rock doctors are probably much better to explain how that all works.
Is that what you call them, the rock doctors?
The rock doctors, yeah. Yeah, the geotechnical engineers, they're the ones to talk all about how that works. Yeah, but we're filling this up with waste. So all the waste material we used to cart to the surface. We've got a big stockpile up there, but it's obviously much more efficient to bring it out here because eventually we've got to take it back in underground and fill up the old voids.
So all of the tunnels that you've dug out, all
Yep.
of that rock you've now started to fill Martha.
Yep, we're using
this is all
as a
of it here?
stockpile, yes.
And then eventually, once you're done mining that, you'll use all that rock.
Yep, progressively as we
fill it
finish
back
an
up.
area, we'll go back and fill that area in. Consent process to fill the voids. So.
What is the life of the underground mine?
Oh, I started here in 2012, but 2006 they started mining underground here. Obviously the open pit and the underground mine were going in conjunction, and then they stopped mining prior to the fall and obviously continue underground. And yeah, I think as far as the life of mine goes, every mine is like, well, we've got 5 years, we've got 5 years, we've got 5 years. If you look at many of the mines around the world, It's they're always looking at, oh, we're going to be closing soon. Oh, hang on, no, we've got another 5 years, another 5 years. Obviously, as you go further underground, we can do more exploration, find more gold, and potentially extend the life of the mine.
How long have you been working here for, Craig?
August 2012 I started, so yeah, moved up from Macrae, so I was down at OceanaGold then.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking us around. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
While underground gives a sense of the stakes, you need to go higher up to see the scale of the entire operation. OceanaGold's New Zealand legal executive Alison Paul is coming up in the air with us. Oceana purchased the Waihi mine in 2015. At that time, it only had a life of less than 3 years. It's extended it well beyond that now.
How are you allowed to dig a pit that large on the edge of a residential area?
It was turned into a pit 35 years ago, and at that time there was a lot less town than there is now.
So the town actually built up to the pit as opposed to they dug into a town?
That's right.
Interesting.
It's been a combination of both, really.
Its growth is now extended to exploring for gold under this nearby forest, a popular hiking area in the region, land that's administered by the Department of Conservation.
So this is all dockland, all of this forest, Coromandel Forest Park? That's right, all of Coromandel Forest Park. So this is one of the drill sites here. Can you explain the operations that you're doing on this area through sites like that currently?
Yeah, so the area is what we've called the Wharekiraponga area, and that's what we've named the ore body. Since about 2017 in earnest, we've been, with the permission of the Department of Conservation, establishing drill sites in order to drill holes down into the ground and understand more about the ore body that is there. And that is aimed at firming up your understanding of the extent and the grade and the physical properties of the ore body.
So effectively at the moment you're pre-feasibility. All of this drilling is to help you create a pre-feasibility study.
That's correct. So once you've applied things like the economic factors, you're able to raise it to a level known as a reserve, and that can only happen when you've reached a pre-feasibility stage. And that's our intention in December, when we're going to release a report to our shareholders, which will be targeting exactly that. So we'll be talking about a reserve after we release that report in December.
Roughly how confident are you that you could extract decent quality gold from that?
That's the big question that we answer in a pre-feasibility report. But as I sit here today and I say that we're going to be releasing a pre-feasibility report with a maiden reserve in December, that tells you the level of confidence that we've reached at this time.
So far it's indicated 1 million ounces of higher grade gold could be under the ground. So it's proposing digging 2 new tunnels to get to it, which would go under this farmland that the company has already purchased. But mining is not without its controversy, and the fact that this is conservation land and home to a native frog species is significant for the environmental effort against it. When we landed back on the ground, Alison and I sat down to discuss why it's pushing ahead with its investment and the expected payoff. Alison, thank you so much for having us here. I really appreciate it.
It's great to have you here.
Let's start by talking about the existing Waihi operation, what we've seen here today. Tell us about the scale of it. You also have Macrae's, which is the biggest gold mine in the country, but how does Waihi here compare?
So the company OceanaGold started at Macrae's 35 years ago, and that does remain the biggest gold mine in the country. It's essentially an open pit gold mine with some underground mining. Here at Waihi, OceanaGold acquired this mine off Newmont at the time in 2015. So we've been here coming up to 10 years. And that whole time we've been underground mining. So there is quite a well-known open pit in the middle of Waihi, Martha Pit, that has been not mined at the time that we've had Waihi mine. So we're mining under Martha Pit in remnants of historic mining from over 100 years ago. And that Martha underground mine will take us through to something like 2028 or beyond on our current estimations, but those kinds of dates are always moving.
So if that's the life of the mine then, what do you think sort of total production or at least annual production leading up to 2028 could be from the existing Waihi operation?
So the existing operation this year is targeting between 55 to 75,000 ounces of gold, and then a whole lot of silver. We produce more silver than we do gold out of the Waihi mine. So that compares with Macraes, for example, which typically targets between 130 to 150 or more thousand ounces of gold a year. So here at Waihi, that is the kind of production that we're looking for, looking to increase that somewhat, but that out to 2028 at the moment is what we're aiming for. And then we're looking to bring on at some point this additional discovery, the Wharekirauponga ore body, which we've been exploring since about 2017, and we're taking that through into the development phase.
I'm definitely keen to talk to you about all of that in more detail, but if we just talk about the existing environment, the climate for minerals and the economic potential for it, the price of gold at least is record highs, the price of silver is certainly rising too. How do you think about the climate and the market for commodities like that at the moment and the opportunity that provides for a company like this?
So here in Waihi, we are employing over 350 people, and the exploration that we're pursuing is employing over another 100 people. So that is a great opportunity, not just for the mine, but for the people of Waihi. And I think at the moment that is the focus of some of what's being proposed by the current government around things like the Fast Track Approvals Bill. So the government has identified an opportunity to bring on additional economic activity through things like the primary sector and the resources sector, which is part of that. So that is the opportunity. Wharekirauponga is, in terms of gold production, initially a development project, and it will be for some years before it starts producing gold. There's a lot of tunnelling that has to happen before we're able to reach that ore body. And at that point it will become another producing mine that will add to the production that we're seeing here at Martha Underground, or take over, or something along those lines, depending on the timelines.
At one point, I do want to talk to you about the prospect and opportunity that that could provide in terms of the gold that you could extract from that area. But what if it doesn't happen? There is enormous controversy around this project, and you've barely even got started. You know, you're certainly not at extracting anything yet. That could derail this investment and prospect entirely for this company.
Nothing is guaranteed, and I think the way a business like ours has to respond to that is to listen and to do our work and our consultation and the technical assessments we need to do to meet the expectations of New Zealanders. So the Wharekirauponga opportunity is under conservation land. One of the things we've been clear on from the outset is that we wouldn't be putting any surface mining activities in the conservation estate. So we're going to start tunnelling from a piece of farmland that is next to the Conservation Forest Park. We'll tunnel underground, and we will tunnel towards the ore body from there and stay underground, except for some vent sites, vent shafts that are going to rise to the surface. So that's the first thing. You have to respond to expectations. We're doing a lot of technical assessments to make sure that our impacts stay underground and don't have a noticeable impact on conservation land on the surface. So that, we think, addresses some of the controversy that surrounds a project like ours. And you can understand the controversy because New Zealanders justifiably are very protective, in particular of conservation estate, and I don't think any of us would have it any other way. So this project will have to meet those expectations that what's on the surface remains well looked after.
There must be some pretty high confidence that's come out of those early studies to make you want to proceed with something that does have controversy surrounding it.
Yes, it's started life, as all mines do, as a discovery, and since 2017 in earnest we've been doing exploration drilling, so that's with the permission of the Department of Conservation. And we've been drilling off about 13 sites, including camps and helipads and the like. And then we've added another site in March this year to that number. So that has got us to the point by the end of last year where we were able to say to our markets, we've got a fairly good confidence level, what is known as an indicated resource, around about 1 million ounces of gold. And then we've got about another 500,000 ounces at a kind of a less drilled out, lower level of confidence. And since that time, we've been looking to raise the amount of drilling we have of that ore body, to raise that confidence level some more. And we've also established another drill site to the south where we're really looking for the extent, where the extent of the ore body might be and whether it extends further. So we've been publishing results since that time that are showing that at the moment we're continuing to find good grade mineralisation that we're optimistic about and that we're looking at adding to our inventory.
1 million ounces. If Waihi annually today, you currently produce what? I think you said 50,000 or something.
Through to about 75 or so.
So
That's this year's guidance.
So 1 million ounces, that could give you how many more years, if not decades, on this operation if you're allowed to go ahead with it?
Yeah, I think the development phase could be quite a few years to begin with. But then after that, the mining phase is in the order of a decade of mining at the moment. And because you are always looking for further extent of the ore body, even when you're underground. Once you've established your tunnels, you're able to do more drilling from underground. And what you experience often is that a mine keeps on going. So you establish your mine based on what you know at the time, and you have a level of optimism.
And what about the quality of the gold in grams per tonne out of that 1 million ounces? How does that compare to what you currently get out of Waihi, or perhaps compare to Macraes?
So you need to appreciate that the grade of the gold that you target with an underground is always necessarily higher than the grade of the gold that you target with an open pit. So two very different operations. At Macraes, we're targeting less than 1 gram of gold per tonne of ore, whereas an underground will inevitably be more than that. The grade that we've got within our indicated resource at Wharekirauponga is 15.9 grams per tonne.
Compared to less than 1?
Well, compared to a very different operation being an open pit.
But that's a massive difference.
Producing mine. It is. What you will find is that the grade often goes down as you start to bring in more and more gold into your inventory that you're targeting. So you aim to establish a cut-off grade, which is the point at which you decide that you're going to leave anything further and not mine it. And so the kind of grade that you've got within a resource estimate is not always going to be or necessarily going to be reflective of what you mine at. But certainly Wharekirauponga is a very promising ore body, and we have been pursuing the development of our understanding of that to the point that we're going to be releasing a pre-feasibility study in December, which is going to, amongst other things, allow us to establish a reserve, a gold reserve, and not just the resource that we've got at the moment. So that'll be happening in December.
Of course, the grade of gold that you would extract from an underground mine needs to be higher because it costs a hell of a lot more to operate an underground mine. It's a much bigger investment and more difficult than an open pit mine. Is that correct?
That's right, and you're targeting, in many cases, different mineralisation that is, by its nature, more concentrated than the kind of mineralisation you target with an open pit. So there are fundamental differences, but the cut-off grade is one of the things that is a difference between those two methods of mining.
So if we sum up all of those figures then, 1 million ounces potentially in this Waihi North project, if it is at that grade of almost 16 grams per tonne of gold, another decade on the life of this project, how much do you think this company could take if it sells that gold at near the record prices that gold's hitting now?
Well, that's something that even in a pre-feasibility context, when we release the pre-feasibility study, there will be some estimates of those kinds of numbers contained in that. At this point, it's fairly, I would say, conservative, or people would form the view it was conservative relative to current gold price. But of course, you're talking about a long-term investment. So what you base your investment on isn't the spot price today, but more of a consensus price coming from everyone in this particular market, gold investors, and you really establish a more conservative number. So the indicated resource that we've got, or the resource that we've got at the moment for Wharekirauponga, is based on a $17.50 US gold price. And to the degree that as a company at the moment that we talk about reserves, that's based on 1,500 gold price. So that's pretty conservative.
This morning I checked it, it's over 2,300
Yes.
USD.
Yeah. So it is something that you obviously keep under advisement, and from time to time the company does make announcements and update the market as to our thinking on those kinds of numbers.
So remind me again when the pre-feasibility study is due to come out, because you're currently in a pre-feasibility study process.
That's right, yeah. So that's going to be released on the 11th of December, Vancouver time.
We'll talk then. Thank you so much for your time, Alison. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Markets with Madison. If you enjoyed this interview, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. I do all of the research for these episodes myself, so your support means a lot. I always love to hear your feedback and ideas, so please drop any thoughts in the comments below. Now go put your money to work.